So what can be purchased? You can purchase regular games, and you can also purchase semifinals and finals. Now, to purchase a semifinal or a final, you do need to purchase at least one regular game. So you don't need to purchase more than one. You can just buy the one regular game, and then you can you don't really purchase the semifinals. In semifinals, you commit to purchase because you only have to prepay for the regular games. Now, again, when I say you have to prepay, it's not you, the parent, it's the team has to prepay. If a team really wants multiple discs, we will make multiple copies so that they can give one disc to each player, or if there's specific parents that want one, but it's $5 per additional disc. The first master disc is included in the price. And then that brings us to our parent interest form, which is the form that everybody has to fill out. Even if you don't want photos, you should still fill it out because coaches need this to try and gauge the interest level in photos. So if they get a sheet that says, I'm not interested, they know you're not interested. But if they just don't get a sheet, well, they don't know if you're interested or not. So we're going to take a closer look at the sheet. Just going to zoom in. Okay, so first thing, you'll notice the title, Parent Interest Sheet. So it is not an order form. So you're not committed to anything that's on the sheet. It's just a parent interest sheet. So it's just to show your interest to the coach, so he knows, if you have any interest in photos. I'm saying that word way too much. So first thing you'll do, you put out your name as a parent. You'll indicate the player's name that it represents, and you'll also add your telephone number. Email is optional. Step 2. So this says fill out your level of interest. So it basically goes from very interested all the way down to not interested at all. The first one says I'm very interested in having a disc. So some parents are, they want the photos, they absolutely want them, show a lot of interest. The second one here is for, I'm up for it. It sounds like a good idea. I do want photos, but I'm not jumping up and down. 3, I don't think I want any photos, but I'm willing to contribute if most of the others are. So this is a parent that usually may or may not get photos, but if the rest of the team is getting some, they don't mind jumping in and splitting the cost. And then finally we have I don't want any photos. So that's pretty clear. So at that point, if there are people that don't want photos, they can probably opt out from paying for the photos since it's a full team thing, but they probably won't receive the disc with the images. That'll be entirely up to the coach to decide if he wants to pay for that person's portion, or if he just wants to make it more expensive for everybody else if there's people that aren't paying. We leave that up to the coach to make up their mind, since every team and everybody does it a different way. So step 3, you're going to fill out the amount that you are comfortable contributing towards the images. So we put a scale here from $5 to $30, and again, it doesn't mean that you're going to be paying that price. It just means this is the maximum that I would be willing to put in. And basically it'll probably default to some of the lower levels. So if you put 25 and everybody else puts 5, you are not committed to pay the 25 while everyone else pays 5. It just means that the coach knows that you're willing to pay more and these people pay less, so in the end it will probably average somewhere around here, 5 or 10, and you'll end up with 1 or 2 games instead of, but it just, if you say 25 and I want 3 games and I want the finals, you may not get that, but it shows this is my interest. So these forms are just so that the coaches know what you want. He's gonna take a look at all the sheets, and we even made a little sheet for the coach or the person in charge of it to basically get a pretty good visual of what's going on and who's interested and who's not, and the overall interest for the team, and if it's even worth it. If everybody's saying no, I don't want any, then they probably won't get photos. But if everybody wants photos, you can get a pretty good idea of how much people are willing to spend and how many games they want. Now, on a side note, and this is not geared towards the parents but more towards the person in charge, the only thing that has to be prepaid is the regular games here, games 1, 2, and 3. The semifinals and the finals will only be charged and invoiced if you reach that level, but we'd still need to know if they want it. So if you're a coach or a manager that's in charge of all this, when you do place your order, you need to let us know if you're willing to commit to some of these, but in the end you'll just send us a check for the number of games you want, and we will invoice you afterwards for the rest if you do make it. So we'll be keeping an eye on who makes it to the finals, and if we see that you've requested the finals or the semifinals, we will actually go out and photograph it, and we will deal with all the financial stuff after for that. So no worries there. If you don't make it, then you just get your regular games, and that's it. That's the end of that. So let's go back here. So we've pretty much answered the question of how is a regular game different than a playoff game, and how do you pay? Well, the team pays us, so it'll be up to the manager or the coach in charge to decide how to collect the payments from the parents. As a team, the team will pay me by check or by credit card, whichever way they want, but it does have to be paid in advance. So the parents don't pay us individually, it's just the team that pays us. And the manager or coach will have the final word on how he collects for the team. And then finally, we have how do we get our photos, and we've talked about that briefly before. Once the tournament's done, we mail them out within 7 days. Usually you'll get them within 7 days, but we usually say that we'll mail them out within 7 days after the tournament. It really depends. I mean, if we have to photograph 20 games, it'll be pretty quick. If we have to photograph 100 games, it'll take a couple days longer. The master disc is sent to the coach or the person in charge again, and they distribute the disc. They can share it between parents to copy them on the computer, or they can make copies, or they can burn it to a USB key, upload it to Facebook, Flickr, wherever they want. That's once you have the photos, it's as if you took those photos yourself. So we don't hold any rights to them. We don't care what you do with them after. It's entirely up to you. So as an artist, I guess I would hold the artistic copyright since it was in a public place, but I'm not overly worried about that. You can print out as many as you want, you can edit them, you can do whatever, we don't care. We basically just, you pay for the files here and they're yours. Like I said, very different than our portrait studio. We don't do it quite like that, but for the hockey stuff, that's how we do it. So I hope that answered most of your questions. Not sure if there's anything else to discuss. If you do have a question, you can email me at the address below, and it should pop up at the bottom there. And you can always call us too, but you'll probably have a better chance just emailing us in the next couple weeks. But if you go to our website, you can get our full contact information there. If you have any questions, get a hold of me and I will get back to you. Have a good day.